Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Divisional playoff football. Let's go. My name is Jason Hammer. I do the Hammer and Nigel show in Indianapolis. Across from me, another award-winning, #1 rated radio host in his own right, former elected official Rob Kendall. We are the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io, your one-stop shop for all things sports betting information. Stats. You can create your own computer model. You can see what all of the books have in terms of lines and totals. And Rob, one thing I've noticed a lot these last couple of weeks, and maybe it's because the market is, let's call it what it is, oversaturated with sports books right now.
Yep.
There are a lot of different numbers, whether it's college football and the playoffs. We see a lot of different numbers in these divisional rounds, different books, different numbers, and sometimes it's the same juice.
Let's get into that for a second, because one of the great things about Stat Factory is they'll take all of these books and they'll put them right in front of you, like at your fingertips. I've saved so much time using Stat Factory, just having this information right in front of me. But let's talk about all these books for a second. It seemed like when sports betting first got legalized across the country, a whole bunch of these books popped up. And then it seemed like we saw some consolidation, like either they couldn't make it or they got bought out by the big guys. And now it seems like we're back to a bunch of books again. How is this sustainable that we have all of these sports betting apps?
Yeah, and you have some of these companies partnering with different media outlets, right? Like Barstool tried to hitch their wagon to a sports betting partner, didn't really work out. So Barstool got dumped. ESPN Bet comes along. Now they're what used to be kind of Barstool. Barstool still does some other things. FanDuel, now they're trying to sponsor more and more things. There's a lot of options out there, and this is why we dig our sponsor, StatFactory.io. In addition to being able to create your own computer model, if you will, by comparing all of the statistics head-to-head, you see where everything is out right in front of you. You don't have to toggle app to app to app. Now, if you're wed to just one sports book, that's fine. Good for you. But on this program, we are not wed to a specific book. We like to shop around. We want to make the most money by spending the less. That's the goal of what we do here at the Degenerates Next Door. So let's dive on in here, Rob. Saturday, 4:30 p.m., the Texans on the road at the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, Chiefs, best record in the AFC. 8.5 is where I'm seeing the number. It differs in a few other books. Over under 41.5.
Yeah, this is an example of where StatFactory.io can really help you, because this is everywhere from 8 to 9.5. I've seen it at.
And that's a big jump.
Oh, it's huge. That's huge. And again, this is one depending on where you're going to go on when you get in, because it seems like the number is moving in favor of a higher number for the Chiefs to cover. So if you were saying, hey, I'm going to make that play, you may want to get in on it now. But if you're a Texans person, you may want to hold off, because it seems like the number is moving in the Texans' favor. And I'll tell you what, if I had to make the bet over the weekend, I probably would go different than I'm going to go right now. But we got to do the show right now, so you go with the numbers that are in front of you.
We do the show on a Thursday at noon for the NFL.
Like if this number got to 10, I'd be tempted to take the Texans. I don't see it at 10, and I do see it at 8 on Bovada. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs to cover based on finding it at the 8. Now, if this thing was 10 by Saturday, might end up going with the Texans. The Chiefs won 27-19 in the matchup a couple weeks ago. You got highs in the 20s and outdoors. That's not going to be helpful for the Texans. They scored 32 last week, but I don't buy that. A lot of turnovers, and the Chargers just imploded. And here's the deal. Here's why I'm taking the Chiefs. If I got to see Taylor Swift for 3 hours, I'm not going to be in misery of losing money and having to see Taylor Swift. So I'll take the Chiefs. We can all root for the Chiefs together.
For me, and again, I'm going to give you my official pick here in just a moment, but this is a game where I am thinking about live betting this one, because the Texans are pretty good in the first half. They usually get out to decent starts first quarter. And if the Texans can get a quick score and you can get that number to go down a little bit if you're a Chiefs backer, do that. Absolutely do that. But for the sake of this program and giving you a pick, I'm with you on this one with the Chiefs. Listen, I get it. One of the worst teams in the league at covering this past year. And historically, that's kind of been the MO for this Chiefs squad in the regular season. But in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, 6-0 in the divisional round, and right now is about as healthy as this Chiefs team has been all year. They really needed these last couple of weeks off. Mahomes was banged up. Kelsey was banged up. A lot of dudes were. This is as healthy as they've been all year. The last 3 times as a favorite at home in the playoffs, Kansas City 3-0 against the spread. So I feel like playoff Kansas City is a little different than regular season Kansas City. And now, Rob, I want you to pass me that tinfoil hat that's right next to you.
Here you go.
Let me put the tinfoil hat on here. Clay Martin is the referee for this ballgame.
Oh, here we go.
Kansas City is 6-0 when Clay Martin is the referee. So if you're one of these folks that buy into the conspiracy theory that they get all the calls, Kansas City gets the calls, maybe the ref wants a picture with Taylor Swift, Clay Martin is your guy. He's your Huckleberry. 6-0 Kansas City when he's the ref. He's the ref on Saturday. I'm on Kansas City with you. But don't be afraid to live bet this thing if Houston gets out to an early start and take Kansas City with that live bet. All right, game number 2, Saturday night, prime time, 8 p.m., Washington at Detroit. This line, it's a big one. Anywhere from 9.5. There were some 10s in spots yesterday. Lions, a home favorite. Over under 55.5.
Yeah, another example of Stat Factory helping you out because I'm taking this at 10. I'm taking the Commanders getting the 10. I've been saying it all year that the Lions defense was going to bite them in the backside in the playoffs. And I don't even need them to be biting them in the backside to where they lose the game. Just keep it within 9 or less. Jaden Daniels is really good. The Bears, as they always do, drafted the wrong guy, and he was awesome down the stretch against Tampa Bay. Now, one thing that does worry me about the Washington, I refuse to call them the Commanders, the Washington.
The artist formerly known as the Redskins.
That's right.
Can we do like what Prince used to do when he was pissed off about his contract?
Bring back the Redskins. They struggled down around the goal line with Tampa Bay. They should have gotten the end zone a couple times and had to settle for field goals. Detroit doesn't exactly have the dudes up front like I think Tampa Bay does. So I think that there's a lot of ways you can keep it within 10. I don't think the road bothers Daniels. I think he's too young and stupid to be bothered by it. I'm going to take the Commanders getting the 10.
I'm looking at this total, Rob. It's a big number, 55.5.
That's a lot of points.
And I'm here for it.
Yay!
I'm on the over here. Look at the last 5 games for the Lions. So the last time they played was a big game against the Vikings. Week 18, prime time. This was a de facto playoff game. Winner won the division, got a bye. Loser has to go on the road. You saw what happened to the Vikings already. The Lions put up 31 points against a pretty decent Vikings defense, okay? The week before, on the road at San Francisco, a 40-burger. The week before that, on the road, in the cold at Chicago, 34. The week before that, 42 in a loss to Buffalo. And Buffalo has a pretty good defense. The week before that, Rob, 34 against the Packers. And now they are at home. They are rested. That crowd is rowdy. And a rookie quarterback is coming into their building, which I think you would expect a turnover or two to happen here. I think the Commanders, the artist formerly known as the Redskins, are good for at least 23. But I think the Lions check the box for 30+. I'm going to go over here. This, to me, feels like a 35-23 type of game. That's the worst-case scenario, and that still cashes in over. So I'm Captain Over here. We're going to ride the lightning and go over 55.5, Washington at Detroit.
Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet your captain, Captain Over.
Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Captain, your navigator, Mr. Unger, and your first officer, Mr. Dunn.
Unger, over, over, done.
All right, going to take a little time out here. When we come back, We've got Sunday action. 2 more games to go. The Rams at the Eagles, the Bills at the Ravens. We got a lot of action. We're going to get nuts. We've got a degenerate special. Our professional handicapper is on the way. Don't go anywhere. We are the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io. Sign up for the free preview. Play around with it. Again, you always hear these gambling gurus, these little worms that are on television. The model says this. The model says that. This gives you the model, and it gives it to you at a super low price, okay? And they're still tweaking some things out. The AI feature is coming very soon, so you want to jump in now. Check out that free preview, statfactory.io.
You know what they should have done, because the model's going to be some hot chick with big cans telling you how your bet shapes out. The model should have been the model Rick Martel.
Oh, that's a classic wrestling reference right there.
Hey?
Spraying his arrogance in the bottle around the model Rick Martel.
What a missed opportunity.
We've got the Rams at the Eagles. The Eagles are a 6-point home favorite. Saturday, 3 p.m., over under 44.
I texted you this during the Rams-Vikings game. The Rams are just impossible to figure out to me. It's one of those ones where it's almost like trying to bet Baker Mayfield. It's just a total coin toss. You never know what you're going to get.
Who did screw me?
He did.
On brand last week.
I owe you a thank you for making me take that game on this show because I didn't want any part of it. You forced me to do it, and I was very upset, and I got that bet right, so thank you.
You're very welcome. The doink went your way.
That's right. So the Eagles stuck it to the Rams 37-20 earlier this year, and, in fact, that's the last time the Rams lost, Hammer. They've won 7 in a row, but almost all those wins were against complete garbage, which is what Minnesota turned into at the end of the season. The Eagles last lost at home back in September. Snow, rain is predicted for Sunday, high in the 30s. Rams on a short week. I'll take the Eagles laying the 6.
So if I understand this correctly, what you're trying to tell me is that
the Eagles are so much better than the Eagles. No.
There it is, the best part of the whole thing. You know, one of the great disappointments for me is that Fetterman's normal again.
Yeah, he's better. Man.
Yeah.
He's
better,
better.
man.
He's not Fetterman. He's a better man now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of miss the hi, good night, everybody. But I'm glad he's feeling better.
As much as it kills me to say this, I'm with you on this one, Rob. Cold weather is in play here. Philly's defense, they show up at home, especially in playoff games, and it's a Rams defense that ranks 23rd against the run. That's not good when Saquon Barkley is about to get the rock. And Barkley dominated this first matchup. This is the bet that I feel the most confident in out of all of these in this round, in the divisional round. Philly at home, less than a touchdown. I think you should probably jump on this now before that number goes up. I will lay 6 with the Eagles.
The Eagles are so much better than the Eagles.
Wait for it.
No.
So, see, either way we were going to win with this bet because we were either going to get Fetterman or we were going to get Ramit by the, 85 Rams?
The 1985 L.A. Rams, Eric Dickerson with his Jerry Curl, Rex Specs, all doing pelvic thrusts to a song called Ram It. Now, if you don't know what we're talking about, look that up on YouTube and be careful, you may get pregnant. All right. I call this the varsity game, right?
Yeah.
This is the premier game of the weekend. This could easily have been an AFC championship game, depending on how the standings would have played out. You've got the Ravens at the Bills. And again, lines have kind of flip-flopped on this one, but it's basically 1 point, 1.5. At the time of this podcast, on Thursday, Baltimore 1-point road favorite at Buffalo. The over-under right around 51.5, Rob.
Look, Fat, here's the deal. Are you ready, Fat?
Let's do it.
Okay, all right. So, by the way, FanDuel and DraftKings now have this at 1.5. So this is another example. StatFactory.io coming up big for if you're going to bet the Bills.
And I feel like, though, this is the most bet game of all of these in the first round. Like, the casual football fan finds this game interesting. So with all of this money coming in, it's so balanced right now. Nobody's going above 1.5, and I think that's pretty interesting.
I know you're a huge South Park fan. I saw the meme somebody posted it. The caption was, NFL knowing they're getting Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, and it's Randy Marsh in his basement where he's having the little I know we're on podcast, but we still have some younger ears listening. He's having a good time.
Yes. He had treated his body like an amusement park, as George Costanza's mother once said.
Okay, so let me say this. I have no idea on this one. None. Zero. I'm just picking one because I talked myself in and out of both of these multiple times. Ravens smoked the Bills earlier this year. Bills had a bunch of dudes out. But until I see otherwise, Josh Allen has been a much better playoff quarterback than Lamar Jackson. I get that he and Henry are MVP caliber players. Jackson probably going to win it. But McDermott has done a good job of containing Lamar over the years. He wasn't exactly a world beater in the first round at home, mind you, against the Steelers. Flip a coin. I'll take the home team. I'm getting 1.5. I'll take the Bills.
Again, you could make a case for either one of these teams.
I did. It took me an hour to make this bet.
Looking at some numbers here. Since 2010, in the divisional round, home teams who had a bye are winning at 75%. Well, what do we do here, right? You also look at divisional round favorites, 23-24 against the spread, 50% since 2010. So you've got the number saying this is a toss-up, the line saying this is a toss-up. I mean, this is about as even as a matchup as you could get. I'm going with Baltimore, and this is why. I think Derrick Henry is the difference. I think the running game will travel to Buffalo, no matter what the conditions are. No matter how cold it is, how windy it is, maybe it'll snow, maybe it won't, doesn't matter. Derrick Henry getting the football is the difference here. Baltimore is 8-3 against 11 playoff opponents this season. They blew out the Bills earlier in the year. It's a different Bills team now. I get it. But give me Baltimore here. I think Derrick Henry, this is why he was brought to Baltimore. This is not going to be a game won by Lamar Jackson. It's a game won by Derrick Henry. All right, let's take a little time out. Our professional, Kenny Britt of KB Sports, he has action on this game. The big one, the Bills, the Ravens. We'll find out what he has got going. Plus, we're going to get nuts. We got a Degenerate special. It's all on the way. We are the Degenerates Next Door, brought to you by StatFactory.io.
All right, let's find out what our professional handicapper thinks about the marquee game. A game that honestly could be an AFC championship game, but we get it in the divisional round. Baltimore at Buffalo. KB, Kenny Britt of Kenny Britt Sports, KB Sports on Facebook. Man, KB's been rolling, a big, hairy American winning machine. If you like money, reach out to Kenny. My man, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, Baltimore-Buffalo, like you said, it's the marquee game of the weekend, and it's probably the marquee game of the playoffs. Hopefully we've got better games than we had last week, right? I mean, wow, those were abysmal.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay game was kind of the saving grace of the whole thing. And on brand, Baker Mayfield screwed me because that's what Baker Mayfield does. Baker Mayfield, to me, is the one guy that I will never get right. Do you, as a professional, Kenny, have a team or a player that continually screws you no matter what you do?
Oh, absolutely. And the big one was back when Brady played for the Patriots, because they would either be heavy run game plan one week, and then next week it'd be a heavy pass game plan. And they always screwed me because you never knew what Belichick and Brady was going to do.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. I mean, every week, week in and week out, you never knew what was going to happen. They might run the ball 50 times one game, and the next game throw it 50 times.
The two people that screw me more than anybody, Baker Mayfield, you bet on them to win, they lose, vice versa, and row your boat guy, the Minnesota football program, the Golden Gophers. They screw me more than anybody.
PJ Fleck, yep. Well, just make sure you keep that in your memory bank, man.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here. What are you looking at here for this big one?
All right. Well, on paper, it's a great matchup. Offensively, Buffalo's number 1 in the league. Baltimore's number 2 in the league. Defensively, Buffalo's number 1 in the league. Baltimore's number 4 in the league. I see a lot of running going on in this game, obviously, and I really like the under 51.5. It hasn't moved all week. I think the defenses will come and show up, and I think the clock's going to run a lot with all the running. And I really like the under 51.5. I think Derrick Henry, he's a tank. Jiminy Christmas. He made the Steelers, a good defensive team, look like, a D3 college team. It was embarrassing being a Steelers fan. It really was. So I just see the clock running a lot and the game going under 51.5.
So what's your response when people say, this isn't the Ravens that we grew up with? This isn't that defense-first Baltimore Ravens? Because defensively, the Ravens have been pretty vulnerable this year. It's been their offense that's been bailing them out.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, I was really shocked to see that they were ranked 4th in the league. I think defensively, we're thinking about the beginning of the season. The first 6, 7, 8 games, they were bad. But I think they've really gotten better, and they're ranked 4th in the league defensively, which really surprised me. Which that's based on yardage given up. When you see those kind of numbers, you've got to really start handicapping, get into more of those numbers because Buffalo, for example, they're in the AFC East, so 6 of their games they're going to throw give up 200 yards and run for 500, in the AFC East. So you got to kind of take it and grade it on a curve. But I think Baltimore's defense is a little better at the end of the season than we're giving them credit for. I really do. And John Harbaugh, I have nothing against McDermott at Buffalo, but coaching, Harbaugh gets the big edge there. Special teams, they get the edge. And I just see the clock tick-tocking a lot, and this game going under by quite a bit.
If somebody wants to reach out to you, hire you for your services, maybe somebody's listening and they're thinking, I like money, and Kenny Britt wins money. How can they find you?
Yeah, look for me on Facebook at KB Sports. I do everything. This weekend, horse racing really gets going with every weekend from this weekend on to the Kentucky Derby. It's Kentucky Dirt Prep races every weekend. I'll have cards for sale every Saturday if interested. I do other things on Facebook, contests, ladder challenges. We've hit 3 of those in a month for about $1,350. So follow me on Facebook. If you follow me and participate, you win. That's the bottom line.
KB Sports on Facebook. The profile picture is a Pittsburgh Steelers theme, right? A little Steelers theme. Hey, It looks like your guy Tomlin is going to survive all this, but is the window getting pretty short on your boy?
I don't think in the sense of the Rooneys. I don't think the Rooneys would ever do anything. As far as him, he acts like he says all the right things. He acts like he wants to be there. He's very diplomatic when it comes to things like that. But I don't think so. I don't think the Rooneys will ever pull the trigger.
All right.
I think it would all be up to Mike. But changes have to be made. There's something wrong there with that team.
All right, Kenny, we will talk next week when we're talking championship weekend, all right?
Yes, sir. All right.
All right, so I'm on the Ravens, Rob's on the Bills, and our professional handicapper, Kenny Britt of KB Sports, he's on the under. Those are our plays for the divisional NFL round this weekend. But wait, there's more. Little hat tip to the great Billy Mays. Rob Kendall, I've got a serious question for you. Are you ready to get nuts?
All right. You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Now you want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts, Rob. What do we got?
Well, we're kind of limited on what we can go with because we've obviously picked all the football games and college basketball. It's hard to do in advance. So we'll go to the world of golf, Hammer. We'll go to the world of golf. It is the American Express Championship, which starts today being Thursday. So these odds may have changed by the time you hear this, depending on when you hear it and how the round is going. But I'm going to take Harry Hall. Hammer. Harry Hall. He has finished 9th 13th, 14th, 8th, and 10th in his last 4 tournaments. He's the best golfer you probably never heard of right now. He's plus 320 to get top 10 at the American Express Championship, including ties. Harry Hall, plus 320, top 10, including ties at the American Express Championship.
All right, want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts! Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
What the hell is this guy's name again?
Harry Hall.
Harry Hall.
It's not Harry Higgs, who's my other favorite loser that I cheer for.
That's the fat golfer that looks like Flounder.
That's right. This guy's actually pretty good.
Okay. I will defer to you. You are a very petty man, a very cheap man, for all intents and purposes, an unlikable man.
Yeah.
But you know your golf.
I do know golf.
All right. I will see your golf. Let's get nuts. And I will raise you the Degenerate Special.
Yeah! It's time for Hammer's Degenerate Special.
Look, have you ever been to Belfast, Rob?
I never leave the county, Hammer.
Never been to Belfast? Because I'm thinking about going there. February 6th.
Oh, no.
2:30 p.m.
Oh, no.
Belfast. The Premier League of Darts. Yes, you can bet on the Premier League of Darts. And darts has a dude. They've got a lot of people that compete. They've got players, but they've got a dude. And his name is Luke Littler.
Who?
Luke Littler. And Luke is at plus money right now. I'm looking at Bet Rivers. You've got the most dominant dude in the field, and he's plus 188 to win the Premier League of Darts, which begins February 6th in Belfast. Now, Luke Humphreys comes in at plus 350. There's a lot of momentum for Luke Humphreys, but Luke Littler is by far and away the superior Luke here.
Wait, time out. Can I ask, do I even want to know? Because I know our buddy Spanglish is a big darts guy.
Yes.
Did you get this from him, or did you actually spend time researching professional darts?
Both. I spoke to our buddy Spanglish, and I researched it. Luke Littler is trying to go back-to-back, okay? He won this thing last year.
Oh, right.
And if you think about it, that's a trend for the great ones right now. Think about people who have ran it back. The Kansas City Chiefs, they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. You've got UConn basketball, back-to-back championships. Joseph Newgarden, back-to-back Indy 500s. Luke Littler is going to go back-to-back at the Premier League of Darts. Write it down. Take a picture. I do not care. February 6th at 2:30 p.m. You can get plus money for the most dominant player in the field. This is like getting Ohio State plus money against Ball State. It's stealing, Rob. It's not gambling. It's stealing. We're investing with Luke Littler, and that is your Degenerate Special.
I love that I asked you in a confused fashion, how will we continue like Degenerate Special now that we're done with college football and the NFL? And you just smiled at me and walked away. And I guess it was darts. It's darts. We're going to darts. I love it. I love everything about that. Luke Littler.
Yes, back-to-back, the Premier Luke in Premier Darts. All right, recap the board here, Rob. Who you got?
Well, we got the Eagles -6. The Eagles. Them Eagles -6 against the Rams. You got the Chiefs laying 8 against the Texans. Got the Bills plus 1.5 at home against the Ravens, and the Commanders getting 10 on the road at the Lions.
I am on the Chiefs -8.5, but I'm also going to live bet that if the Texans score first and I can get a lower number, I might try to double dip on that. I'm on over Washington and Detroit, 55.5. Big number, but if Washington can give me 23, I feel pretty confident we're going to cash this thing. Eagles, I'm with you. This is probably my favorite bet of the weekend, -6. And I'm on the opposite side of Rob. Have running game, will travel. Give me the Ravens -1.
As Rush Limbaugh once famously said, I hope Hammer fails.
Those are our plays for this weekend. You guys have a great time watching these games. We will be back on Tuesday. We're going to start pivoting on Tuesday to a lot more college basketball, NBA, a few future bets maybe, And those shows will focus on games that night.
Fade IU has entered the chat, baby.
So we will talk to you again on Tuesday. Until then, for Rob Kendall, for Kenny Britt of KB Sports, I'm Jason Hammer. Good luck. Have fun watching these games. And as always, may the odds be ever in your favor.